It's Bomb. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Now, the end of the season is right around the corner. We played Hartlepool in that last one, and of course, that was a loss in the FA Trophy. But now the sole focus is the league, of course. So I played 4 behind the scenes, winning 3 and drawing 1. And that keeps us at the top of the table with AFC Telford in second, as you can see here. So 85 points then, and just 2 losses throughout this season. AFC Telford sit on 75, and then Leiston on 72. Also in Town sit on 72 as well, and they will be our next match, which we will play in this episode. So there's been a few things that have happened behind the scenes, and the first of which is the transfers. 1 in and 1 out this time. Junior English leaving the club after 178 games. He played a fair few for us this season, but didn't really offer us much, and he was on £200 per week, so I've decided to get that off the wage bill. Now, the planning, as I've mentioned in the previous episodes, is to prep for next season as early as we can. Of course, the in this time was Ollie Robinson, so I brought in another centre back finally. And this one is a rather good signing in my personal opinion. So Ollie is a rather large lad at 188 centimeters, good pace of 13, acceleration of 13, and fair defending stats with a heading of 9, marking of 10, and tackling of 10, and decent positioning at 70. He's 28 years old and offers us a good little bit of stability, seeing that we haven't been able to get things right with our senior pros just yet. So I've been trying to get a few of the lads on new contracts, and let me tell you, the wages they've been asking for is just not going to cut it. So Jack Edwards, our talisman, is asking for £625 per week. Our guy Henry Landers is asking for 450, and Dan Meredith is asking for 450 as well. So whilst they all offer us a very good bit of quality, I think that we can still get options that are just a little bit cheaper. Now, the plan, as I mentioned before, might just be to take them into the new season without doing much. Leave them on non-contracts and then see if I can get something a bit better in. We've got a little bit of stability in Niall Clayton for one. He is 25 years old currently, and I think he's going to do quite well for us in the division up. So we're going to stick with him and Ollie Robinson. Jack Barr, who's coming to the side, is still only young at 17. So we're going to need to find a few others that give us a little bit of experience to go with all the youth that we've played throughout the season. Now we're going to dig deeper into trying to make these signings pretty soon. I think I'm going to do that on the very next episode. So that said, let's roll the intro before we get properly stuck into this. Today, I want to look at something that I found just a little bit interesting regarding the tactics. So we have been doing a little bit of a madness as far as the stats are concerned. So due to our level, we have fairly poor analysts and fairly basic analysis to come with that. But let's start off with the XG that you can see right here on the screen. Of course, we have 96 goals scored in the league thus far, and our XG is only 72.8. On the other end, we have an XG against of 47.8, and we've conceded 7 less than that. As a result, our total points sit plus 23 to the expected points of 61.1. And I think that is an absolute madness. Now let's look at exactly why this has happened. So we'll start off with our movement as compared to the rest of the league. And as you can see, we are an absolute outlier, completing almost 14 dribbles per game, and at the same time being fouled almost 14 times per game as well. Now, we are well and truly ahead of anyone else in the division, and I think only Mikulova comes somewhat close, but they aren't fouled nearly as much as you can see on the graph up here. Moving on, let's look at the passing. So yet again, as you can see, we sit in the upper bracket of the passing dynamics. We've allowed something like 11,000 passes against us, and we've made about 15,000 passes on our own. So we've got AFC Sudbury here that are pretty similar to us in terms of the style and what the stats reflect. They've made about 17,000 passes, way more than us, but they've also conceded about 11,700 against them. Now moving on to the scoring, and this one is a madness. So the scoring analysis shows just why we've outperformed our XG by 23 goals this season. We're amongst the most aggressive shooters in the league, taking almost 15 shots per game, and we're also scoring the most per game. So almost 3 goals per game then, in comparison to FC Telford, who were taking just a few more shots, but also scoring just a bit less. Now the shooting scatter map reflects exactly why this is the case. As we said, we've been getting off about 15 shots per game, but we're extremely clinical with these. Almost 50%, somewhere around 47.5% as a shots on target ratio, and that is absolutely crazy. Now to put this into context, the next best is Colville. They're sitting about 5% lower than us in terms of shots on target ratio. But as we can see, they only get about 11 shots off per game, which is a whole 4 less than us. And as such, they've only scored 60 goals as compared to our 96. So let's move on to the defending, and as you can see, yet again, we're an absolute anomaly. Less blocks and clearances than most of the league. And this seems to suggest that we're just plain down dominating games. And the possession analysis seems to support this. We're amongst the most reliable in possession in the league, losing the ball about 112 times per game, and the only team better than us is Bromsgrove, losing it about 111 times per game. We don't seem to win the ball back as frequently as some of our competitors, but how are you going to if you keep it for most of the game? Now the sum of all those parts is this general performance polygon. We're averaging 2.74 goals per game from 14.91 shots and a non-penalty XG of 1.78. On the other hand, we're only conceding 1.14 goals per game from an XG against of 1.36. Now, I'm not entirely happy with conceding a goal per game. Of course, defensive shutouts are the backbone of any success story and, of course, title-winning teams. But the analysis seems to suggest that we're going to score more goals in the opposition on average using this style of play, and as such, we're going to win more games than we lose. Now, that tells me that we have got the foundations of a fairly good formation going. There are a few areas that we need to correct, particularly conceding goals, and as you can see there, an 85.72 pass completion ratio. My assumption is that by getting better passes into the team, we lose less of the ball and as such concede less goals and possibly score even more. Now with that, we're going to persist with this formation going to the next season, and I'm going to try and tinker very slightly to get those things right, primarily by signings. Now at the end of the season, when we wrap things up and look to bolster the squad with a fair few signings, I'll try and limit all our incomings to players that have at least fairly decent passing, first touches, technique and vision. Now, of course, this is not going to be a blanket that we can cover all our new signings with. This is the non-league as I just mentioned, but we'll try our very best to set some sort of a standard to hopefully improve on the statistics that we've just seen. Now those tactical insights out the way, let's see if we can get just a touch closer to wrapping this whole thing up, starting with the next one at home to Halzo Town. So here we go then, a home match and our stock standard. In terms of formation and lineup, everyone pretty much as you're used to. Zane Marsh playing in the CM with Adam Walker at CDM, of course. Joe Clark just has not been performing. Everyone else is pretty much unchanged. Micah Anthony is on the bench today. Jack Barr starts with a Canby, Jack Edwards, and Henry Landers up top. I also hope that at some point we can give our guy Albi Shala just a few minutes. And of course, Ollie Robinson makes his second start. So he's coming off the back of a 7.4 in the previous one. Pretty decent start. And he starts next to Jack Lane. Archie Ricketts is in the house, but we're going to try and win this one and then maybe give him some minutes. There we go. Halzo Town sit in 4th on 72. We currently secured a playoff spot on top with 85 points, but this could go some way towards sealing the deal once and for all. So a fair bit of possession for us early on into this one. Of course, Adam Walker is already on a yellow. Now Clayton pumps the ball up to Henry Landers, who nods it on for Jack Edwards, putting that just wide. So we seem to have settled nicely, and now Baldwin whips one in. Canby nods just over. Not much doing then so far, and now a corner for Halzo. Hooked out one, and now another chance. Clayton clutches onto that very nicely. And then another corner from Marsh this time. What will come of this one? Edwards nodding, hitting the bar. Also close, but Landers was offside. So we're close to halftime then, and we just haven't done a lot. I am going to go just a bit more attacking in the second half, and Hopefully that works out just a bit. Alrighty then, we're still persisting with this high amount of possession, but not much in terms of shots. Just 6 thus far. Now the ball in the halfway line and up to Edwards. Can he find a through pass? Finds Landers, put wide. What on earth was that? He was onside there. My oh my. So I can be creating quite nicely, but just no finish thus far. And I think I'm going to have to pop LB Shala on after this attack. Baldwin there, nodding home. Brilliant stuff. And that's his first goal of the season. It's taken quite a... It's taken quite a while, but it's finally come. And Baldwin nodding in quite nicely. And then Marsh with the ball in the halfway line and he gives it away cheaply. And how's one going to come back here? Okafor breaking into space. What will come here? Manning. Ooh. We gave away a lot of space there. Marsh then with a free kick. Breaks free. Out to Jack Barr. Can he finish? Puts it just over. We're going to go ahead and make a few changes. Let's bring on our guy LB Shala for Henry Landers. We'll bring on Micah Anthony as well for Jack Barr and give him a bit of a break. Joe Clark will then slot in for Adam Walker, who, to be fair, hasn't had the best of games either. Okay, then Meredith with a free kick out to Lane and back to him. Can he find a pass? Will he go on his own? Marsh comes up with a first-time finish that was quite sublime. Ball just breaking free, then he knocks it into the bottom right corner. Okay, 2-0 up, and it seems like we might actually have this one wrapped up. Can we get a few goals just to make this look a touch prettier? Baldwin finds Anthony. He's come on now. Can he do something? Back to Baldwin and now to Clark. Subs getting involved heavily there. So Clark yet again finds Marsh one more time, and he goes for the effort from range. Tipped over in a corner. Whooped in then. Will it find the head? Ooh. Unlucky. Jack Edwards then and a ball through. Will Anthony get to this first? His pace comes to the fore. Put it just wide. Oh my oh my. A good chance they created by Jack Edwards. And Micah Anthony's pace. My oh my. Zane Marsh has performed quite well in that midfield role thus far. With a chance, Okafor and Clayton denies him. What a save. It's of course a corner now. And as I was saying, Zane Marsh has performed quite well in that new role. So looking at his attributes early on, I did think he'd make a good CM. And it seems to be panning out quite nicely. Now Anthony with a chance. Oh, deflected and it gets wide. So will there be a third? And it looks like we might have another chance. Zane Marsh with the ball over the top, and we're just praising him, and he finds a lovely pass. An assist for Jack Edwards there, and a lovely finish from a tight angle. Do you know? And yeah, we continue on our merry way here. I'm not sure about you guys, but on the whole Zane Marsh issue, I have personally not had great success in the past with converting players in terms of their positions. Have you? Have you converted a player that's turned out into an absolute star in a completely different position? What on earth are we? What are we watching? That was absolutely crazy, hitting the underside of the bar there. So close to finding one. They might just have another chance, or will they? Broken back to us here. So yeah, it's usually not something that pans out incredibly successfully, converting a player's position, but Zane Marsh seems to have taken to it incredibly well. To be honest, I'm surprised, pleasantly so. He's completely outperformed what I expected. He was going to be an option in the side, but right now he seems like the first choice option to play in the midfield. Now a chance again, and they seem to be a bit lax towards these closing parts, and they do find it. So, stupid defending, and we give away one. Of course, it's too late for them to grab anything more, but unnecessary. And that one goal per game, that's how it seems to come more often than not. Are we over then? Ball crosses the halfway line. What's going on? A foul? No, it's not. Come on, ref. Blow your whistle. There he goes. It's all over at home here to Alzone, and we've won 3-1. Fairly good performance, a sloppy bit of play at the end, giving them a goal. They had an XG of 2.13, and watching that, and I don't know if you'd agree, they were wasteful with some of those chances, but they didn't particularly look threatening. So we're getting closer to the end now, and let's see where to next. So we've almost got this thing wrapped up. We're sitting on 88 points now with AFC Telford on 76. A 12-point gap with 6 games to play, and that means that maybe just one result that goes in our favor will see us win the league. Now, of course, I'm not going to play that one right now, and we'll do that as a special coming next. But before we close things off, let's just look at a few players that we might bring in sometime soon. So here we go then. We've got 3 in on trial, and they look fairly decent. I'm not over the moon about any of them, but let's start off with Lewis Whittam. Okay, so he's got a fair bit of pace, but no real acceleration to speak of. His stats or attributes otherwise look pretty decent, and he's just 22. He can play in a fair few positions, so I might just let him see out the rest of his trial period, which goes for about another 8 days. And maybe we'll go ahead and sign him up if the wage is fairly decent. Hopping back, let's just look at Henry Woods. Then Henry Woods is a little bit better. So 24-year-old that offers us a lot of versatility. Good long shots, good teamwork, good determination and aggression. He's got fair passing, a fair first touch, fair finishing, and not the best physicals to talk about. So again, someone that we could bring in to bolster the numbers, but not too great in terms of offering us a real option for next season. The last one then, who I've just brought in on trial, is Jamie Hansen. So Jamie Hansen might actually be one to sign. He's 28 years old, fairly rounded stats all told, and I think he will make a great squad option if, as I say, the wage is something that we can deal with. I know that previously it was on something like £450, and to be honest, we're not going to pay that for someone that's going to be used as a regular starter or squad player, but not quite important. There's one more then, and we'll find him in our recruitment focus, Tom Solanke. So he's 22 years old, primarily a CDM, and he's got fairly decent attributes. So passing of 12, which as we said is going to be something of a prerequisite going into next season. He's got decent tackling at 10 and marking of 8. Positioning is 8, teamwork 13, and a work rate of 13. So he could offer us quite a bit of defensive cover playing at CDM. He's currently on £425 per week at Stratford Town, our friendly rivals. But his contract does expire at the end of the season, so I'm hoping that maybe if he doesn't renew, which he hasn't done thus far, we could go ahead and poach him. Steal him at the end of the season. If we can get him on a fairly decent wage, we'll go ahead and take him across, because I think this might be the one that will offer us a fair bit of cover. Now, with all of that said and done, we're hopefully going to win the league in the next episode, and that will be a rather special way to end this first season. We do have a youth intake on the horizon, and that too will be rather nice. And if they come together, then don't be surprised by a really long duration of the next episode. Of course, in FM24, the youth intake day varies club to club, unlike the blanket which we saw in the past for a set day per country. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying the series, and I hope I'm getting just a little bit better at showing you what you actually would want to see. If you are enjoying this, please don't forget to drop us a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Of course, I would love to hear what you think I could improve on and what you would like to see in episodes going forward. If there's anything in particular that you really hate, please do let me know. The constructive criticism is always appreciated, of course, because the content is made for you. I'll hopefully see you again pretty soon, so please take care. But until then, laka, check you. Bye!